Okay then, so just a quick hi from me before we get started. We're going to do a tutorial about thumbnail sketching as part of your pre-production. It's about 30 minutes, so you know, feel free to watch it all or just some, and you know there'll be some tips for beginners and some next steps for the more advanced designers in the group. You know, we're going to go through the process of creating pencil sketching and finally end up with a digital version. And you know, all these skills we'll build on through the course of the lesson, and also give you something to practice afterwards and you know, work on at home. Okay, so yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy the tutorial. Just here's a page of the sketchbook, and you'll already have done your research phase, and you should have an idea of the sort of character you need to create. I'm just flicking through one of my old sketchbooks here, and which is for a fantasy guy. He's kind of nice. He looks he's like a sort of a Doctor Who type character. This is sort of like a Tim Burton-esque sort of goth girl that was used in. Let's make a start. Now the most basic thing is to make sure you've got the right equipment. So I've got an HB, which is your basic pencil there. It's also going to be useful to have you know, a softer pencil. That's really soft. That's 5B. So that's going to be the harder mark. And then I always have one of these black outliner pens to go over the drawing, as you can see, you know, that sort of thing. So you've got the pencil sketch, and then you go over it in a black pen. And I also have kind of felt pen as well to hand. They're useful for shading in. Okay, so just the basics then. A lot of people start sketching characters just by doing a basic stick figure, and this is the sort of first thing I usually see from, you know, all ages. And you know, as you can tell, you've got a few problems there just with the pose and the anatomy. So you know, we're going to forget that guy, and instead sort of make a second attempt. So same head, kind of an oval. This time I'm going to just start the neck. Imagine that's see-through, so the neck is there, and then going down to some shoulders, which we didn't have before, and then what I do is just add little pivot points just to help me understand where I'm going to go. Now, proportion's important, and it's going to depend a little bit on the figure, but by and large, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's going to be about 5 or 6 heads tall, and sometimes it's useful to draw the top of the head and then kind of work out where you want the feet to go, and then you know you've got to fill the bit in between. I'm just also noticing as well on the camera, this is slightly the angle's slightly off, so this looks kind of a little bit stretched, but we'll keep going. So notice how I've drawn kind of a square for the chest. And I'm just going to put kind of a kind of triangle for the kind of pelvis area. Got some pivots here, then a knee, and these bits, you know, the shin and the ankle, and the same for the arms. Now, just as a rule of thumb, I just tend to keep all these distances the same. Makes life easier. So, you know, let's make that A, So character B is a lot more accurate, okay, and is a good sort of starting point. Often people draw the feet going that way, which isn't always helpful. So a good practice is to start thinking of the feet pointing that direction, just to give you some depth. So yeah, there's the starting point for a figure, and that's what we're going to develop in a second. But just notice as well, like this famous character here, who is completely made up of circles. Not the best Mickey Mouse ever, but there you go. You need to just start off with basic shapes. So I've just got an oval, square, triangles, a couple of ovals, rectangles, and I'm going to add detail to those in a second. Now what I might do is I'll just switch to this just to show you how I'm going to take that on to the next step. Normally you'd carry on in pencil, but I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do next. Now this line here is actually behind the head, so I'm just going to ink that in. At the same time I'm just adding a few refinements, so I'm squashing the head down, and wherever I've got a single line, sorry if you can hear the background noise, by the way, I've got Ghostbusters 2 playing, so just an extra added bonus for you. Whenever I've got a straight line, I'm trying to flesh it out to make it thicker, like that. And then at the moment you can see I'm ending up with quite a skinny guy. So you can see where the chest is going to go, and the sort of abs, the ribs area, and his pelvis and his man parts. So let's carry on. Now I'm going to assume he's going to have clothes, so I'm not going to go into too much sort of anatomy there. So at the moment he's just, looks like he's got trousers or something, and the same to the arms, and I can add cuffs here, and then I have problem drawing hands, so that's why I got some research on hands and had a little go. I mean, that's not too bad actually. So I try and really simplify hands where I can. So that's just a rectangle and just rectangles again. So keeping it really simple. So there's your wrist. Thumb is a rectangle. Rectangles, which we can all draw, and then the tricky step is just understanding how they all fit together, and that's just practice. Okay, so there's your hand. But yeah, I was actually going to show you how I think you should go ahead. So that's basically what I'm aiming for. So if I grab another pencil, this is the soft pencil now, and you'll see that it's a lot softer. So let's just go back to my starting point. So I'm assuming we can all attempt this, and let's just get the chest in. It helps if you can kind of if you can picture a skeleton, which is essentially what I'm drawing. There's his pelvis. For the moment I'm just keeping the figures just in a standing forward pose, just to keep it simple. I don't know why, but habit, I usually draw, like you can see here, I usually draw 1 foot forward and 1 foot that way. Don't know why, but I just do. Sort of get the hands in. So once you've got away from this guy over here, and some key things: the shoulders, the neck, the head is actually a couple of inches above your base of the shoulders, and you understand that even though you've got the skeleton, you've got to put some form around it. you can start to sort of add a few details, and that's where your character is going to come from. So yeah, hopefully you're going to see this in a second. Oh, don't be afraid to use a rubber, by the way. That's that's why they're there. I use the rubber for just cleaning and drawing up a little bit. And that's it, basically. I don't think there's any such thing as making a mistake at this stage. It's a bit early. So yeah, now what I'll just draw, I'm going to draw on this head, but because it's kind of small, I'm actually going to draw the head here, sort of like a magnified version. So there's my character's head. She's kind of got an almond shape, roughly. Unless there's a reason, never do kind of a Malteser head shape, because we don't have Malteser heads. Now there's the sort of throat part, so I'm going to do the neck either side of that. Very rarely do people have sort of really pointy chins like that, so you need to give it a jaw. And depending on what your character's going to be like, you could have a square jaw or whatever you want. And actually I need to bring the head in a little bit here. Now you need to think of some really easy things, clues that are going to give the head character straight away. And I think we're all taught in primary school to put eyes in, so just work out. It's usually a third of the way down the head. You put the eyes. Funnily enough, what I do sometimes is actually put the eyebrow in before the eye, just because I'm interested in the expression as well. So let's kind of get a moody looking character with a bit of a frown. So that's where my eye is going to go. And then the nose is going to go here. Now a lot of this is just skill. If you practice this, you'll get the skill. Let's take a bit of his head off there. I think when it comes to these sort of drawings, the talent, or at least a talent that's going to help you a lot, is being able to visualize what the character's going to look like in your head. So I'm already sort of imagining what my guy's going to look like, and he's going to have kind of a broad sort of jaw. There's the line of his nose. Still kind of keeping it simple, just simple lines, line, and I don't know, I'm just going to give him quite a flat nose. Okay, now some people want to go ahead and kind of draw noses, a little bit like that, like a nose, like a sort of a fake nose that you might get on a mask or something. But I think just keep it simple. So just a simple line there for now, and then you kind of you got the basics. Now just get these. It's important just to put the pupil in. It's really, really important. That's the key to your character. So get those pupils looking real dark, and then think about your fringe, because that's or not. But even if it's kind of a bold character, you're going to want to shade something in. And then lastly, don't forget ears. Now most people, you're going to be able to see the ear, even if it's just a tiny, just a little bit of a oval coming out, and add those, and we know that they're in line with the eyes. Notice how I'm kind of always dividing the figures up, just putting lines across. It's almost like a grid, just to help me. And once that's done, just rub them out again. They're called construction lines. Once that's kind of finished how I want it, I get my black outliner pen, and here I can just add refinements. Kind of your little head. Now, your shoulders naturally are going to slope off, pretty much. And then I said you need to flesh out the character. Okay, so there's the sort of basics, figure basics, and then you kind of put a little bit of detail in the back there. So So this is a character thumbnail, so we need that character to come across. So you know, he's going to need props. So what are the props? Well, he's going to be some sort of criminal, so let's give him a gun or a pistol or something. So, you know, I know what guns and pistols look like, but again, there's nothing wrong with you kind of going off onto one side and, you know, practicing a little bit what your pistol's going to look like. Actually, this is something for you guys that, you know, think you've got it nailed already and you need a bit of a challenge is to come up with, you know, props that are going to be unique and as interesting as your character. So yeah, it's important. Let's give them a, I don't know, interesting belt buckle, and I mean, you can use that in a client meeting if you want. Kind of explains what your character's about. You know, there's not a lot to him at the moment. Let's give him a bit of a manga. Try going over it in the black pen now. So this black outlining stage is where I get a lot of the details done. So again, just practice. I know exactly, you know, where I want the details to go in you know, in the drawing, and that's just what I said earlier. Practice, experience, shotgunny thing. Let's get his jeans done. A lot of this experience is observation, which is a skill. Again, you know, you can pick that up. It's just practice. You know, I don't know if that's talent. I think the talent is just having the memory recall, so you remember what you know, parts of the figure and the anatomy look like. But the skill, and that's something that you can learn. You know, I can teach you, is observation. So you know, you look at whatever you want to draw or examples of it, and you build on that. Another a skill, I don't think it's talent, I learnt this is the speed. So you know, I don't know how long I've been talking, maybe sort of 10-15 minutes on this, just to get these drawn. You know, that speed, that quickness just comes from experience. You can learn that. That's just practice. You know, it takes years, but it can be done. So that's something that those of you who already feel really confident with your drawing, my challenge to you would be, you know, that's great, but how quickly can you produce these? I mean, could you produce, you know, a thumbnail sketch, you know, in a client meeting? So, you know, let's say the client wants some sort of fat zombie. You know, you can quickly sort of think of the body shape that might be suitable. You know, you've got a knowledge of the sorts of things that are, you know, that character's going to already look like, and you know, you can sketch out an idea real quick. So you can sort of say to the you know, client, you know, is this the sort of you know, thing you're thinking of, and there and then you can get some feedback, and you know, you can go ahead. So you know, there's nothing worse than a kind of fat zombie. They're the worst type of zombie. So let's just kind of, he's got like a dead tongue, and let's just have like a one big, let's just do a quick sort of one eye. Don't want to do this in a client meeting, but there you go. I think he would be better with his arms like that anyway. That's not, looks like a cop out, but there you go. I can use fat zombie just to mention toning and shading. Actually, let's give him sort of big kind of boots there, big DMs. Is that that's a skill as well. That's just understanding light. So let's say, you know, we've got our light source there. It's just understanding what is going to be in shadow. So obviously if the light is there, that is going to be pieces of art if you want. Just grabbing the felt pen actually. I was going to say I'm just using this felt pen. Another challenge, this is a bit more of a sort of an advanced thing, is just to be really economical with your lines. So where you can sketch away and add loads of detail, I think it's just as important and valid sometimes to know it's a little zombie eye there, he ain't got an eye there, to know when to use fewer lines, because that might be what is needed. So there's some blood on there, and some blood, bits of gore because he's obviously a zombie. So to use as fewer lines as possible, but still kind of explain what it is that you're trying to communicate across. So providing you're doing, it's fallen off here, you're doing exactly what the client's asked for, and you're aiming it at the right audience. There's nothing to stop you just using as fewer lines as possible. So in summary, we want to move away from this guy. Then when we feel confident with that, we're working towards this guy, practice in our heads, and then trying to make our thumbnail character have as much personality as we can, and that might be using props. And you'll notice, even though when I'm talking and you think I've finished, I still kind of carry on drawing away. Sorry. What was I saying? Yeah. So you add to your character with props and costume and all of the stuff that the client's going to be expecting. Okay, so I'm going to pause there, and then just finally in a couple of seconds when I get it fired up, I'll show you how we can just develop that on the iPad. Okay, so for this this section, I'm just going to very quickly show you how we can do a sketch on the iPad, and for that I'm using Sketchbook Pro, which is just one I've got, and I've already photographed our zombie friend who was in the photo stream. Let's just put him right around the right way, and just position him like that. And what I just want to show you is how we can develop that sort of black and white sketch just into something a bit more exciting. And again, I guess the skill here is doing it fast enough so that, sorry, it's a scary bit in Ghostbusters there. I think they're in the slime sewer. Just so you can sort of sketch quickly and kind of impress the client at the same time. Let's just do a quick test with that. Let's see if I can make that a bit bigger. What I tend to do is I keep the opacity, that's how transparent the ink is, the colour is, just because then I can sort of colour over. I don't know if you can see that. See where I'm just sort of putting a bit of colour in. I can go over the black pen lines, so I don't have to draw those again until later on if I need to. This whole process is just basically so you can block out the colour, and give the client just an idea of what the character might look like on screen. I should maybe turn Ghostbusters down, but I feel bad. It's always time for Ghostbusters. So okay, I'm just, you know, colouring this, you know, fat zombie dude in a kind of lurid green, you know, like a radioactive green. You just notice how I'm just sort of, you know, kind of twirling the colour on. There's no real sort of any special technique. I'm just kind of trying to block in the colour, you know, just real quick. Sketchbook Pro is kind of cool. It's not the most expensive one. It's just you know, it does the job. I think it was about $2.99. I think we've got the basic version. I'm not sure what the difference is, but you know, we've got the basic. But you know, if you're starting to get into this and you've got a tablet, then you know, it's worth thinking about. I'm just going to switch to a different brush, I think paintbrush, and give myself you know, maybe a red or something, and just going to do his eye. For this I just need to pinch zoom. Good thing about an iPad is you can zoom in and out really you know, easily, which you're going to need to do to kind of to pick out the right details. Obviously notice how, you know, the width of your pen's going to change, so you know, you can kind of go back and forth and you know, just adjust it, and the opacity as well, which I'm going to ramp up a little bit. That kind of just made it, I think that made it worse. I got the wrong way. So yeah, that was the wrong way. Lucky there's undo. Let's just undo that. Look, he had lipstick, he was going out on a date. Let's try the other way. See what that does. That's a little bit better. So kind of put in a bit of a bloody, kind of his bloody tongue. There you go. Kind of lurching out. Make that a little bit browner. Some sort of head wounds here. See, I'm just kind of mottle him up a bit. Sort of pinch him in back there. You can sort of start to see where we're going. Start to see where we're going with this. Let's put him back there. It's got some guts hanging out there. Got some stuff there. The other thing it's kind of useful for is you know, you can just really quickly block out some of the background. So I don't know, maybe just get a kind of a darker grey. Make that brush a little bit wider there. Just kind of this kind of gets rid of this negative space and kind of completes your image a little bit. I made the brush a bit too big there. Wrong way. No. Let's try again. Size. Yeah, give up. So I have to work with that. iPads are nice for layering on the colour really easily, so you know, you can go darker just to kind of give it a bit of a, you know, put a frame around him. Oh no, it does the size. Now it's to do the size. Okay. Like a weird smoky effect around him. It's also kind of easy just to add a bit of shadow. So you got a bit of shadow going on there. So yeah, using the iPad. So again, that's a nice sort of next step for you is once you've got your your paper version, you start to sketch out your sort of digital version, which is ultimately what we want to kind of develop in you guys, and very quickly have an interesting outcome. So okay, that's it for me for now. Like I said, I'm not expecting you to have followed all that straight away. There's you've got about half an hour's worth there, so just take the bits you want and leave what you don't. A good idea is to kind of identify where you're at already, and if you know that your sketching skill is fine, but you need more practice on the digital side, then get straight onto this and practice this. Okay, so that's it, and I really look forward to seeing your results.